Imagine a place where beauty means being large, where stretch marks are celebrated as jewels. This is Mauritania, a West African nation where for centuries a larger body has symbolized allure, wealth and marriageability. The tradition is called Leblouh, force-feeding young girls to make them gain weight rapidly. Girls as young as 5 are made to eat and drink enormous amounts, not for health, but to achieve a specific look visibly large. In the West, thinness is prized. Here, the opposite is true. I traveled to Mauritania to meet the women living this reality. What I found was a story of pride, pain, and identity, one that's both cherished and challenged. This tradition is a source of pride for some, silent suffering for others. It forces us to question our own ideas of beauty and belonging. Before we go deeper, set aside your preconceptions. This isn't about judging from afar, but understanding the immense social pressures at play. We'll hear from women who embraced Leblouh and those who resisted. Join me as we explore the complicated truth behind Mauritania's obesity ritual. To understand Leblouh, we must look to Mauritania's nomadic past. In a land of scarcity, a large body signaled wealth and security. A wife's size was proof of her husband's success. Thinness suggested poverty. Fullness meant prosperity. I met Fatimetu, an elder who recalled, "A woman should have a good size. It is our way." For her, thinness was baffling. Against everything she'd been taught, this ideal is woven into Mauritanian poetry, music and social status. Stretch marks and ample bodies were praised, not hidden. A girl's ability to gain weight was tied to her marriage prospects and her family's honor. These beliefs persist, especially in rural areas. The pressure comes from mothers, grandmothers, aunts, passing down what they believe is a path to happiness. They're not being cruel. They're acting out of love, trying to secure a good future for their daughters. The tradition is an act of care, even if its methods are extreme. The past lives on in the present, shaping lives today. Leblouh is a methodical, intense process, often starting during school holidays. Girls are sent to relatives, professional fatteners, whose sole job is to make them gain weight. The diet, mountains of couscous, camel meat, and above all gallons of camel's milk. Some girls are forced to drink up to 5 gallons of milk a day. When they resist, tools like the zayar, sticks used to pinch toes, are used to force compliance. It's a painful rite of passage, seen as necessary for a girl's future. Parents admit it's hard to watch, but believe it's for their daughter's own good. The short-term pain is seen as a small price for long-term rewards. The practice often starts before puberty, sometimes as young as 5. The goal, reach a certain weight before marriage, which can be as early as 12. The transformation is dramatic. Active girls become obese in months. Their bodies are reshaped by tradition, not choice. The weight of culture is heavy, literally and figuratively, and I met women with vastly different views on Leblouh. Mariam, proud and joyful, saw it as essential to her identity. I was beautiful. All the men wanted to marry me. My mother did a good job. For her, being large meant power, care and success. She now encourages her daughter to eat more. But Zainabu, in her 20s, remembers gavage as torture. I would cry and beg my grandmother to stop. I felt sick all the time. She was shamed for being thin, told no man would want her. But exposure to the internet showed her other ideals of beauty. Now she's part of a growing group of young women questioning the tradition. They're caught between ancestral expectations and a modern world with new possibilities. For some, Leblouh is a gift. For others, a burden. The divide is generational, and the conversation is just beginning. These women's stories reveal the complexity of beauty, belonging, and resistance. The tradition is both fiercely defended and quietly defied. Change is slow, but it's happening, one woman at a time. The struggle is deeply personal and the stakes are high. While a larger body is celebrated, the medical reality is grim. Leblouh leads to high blood pressure, heart disease, and diabetes in girls as young as 10. Doctors see children with the health problems of the elderly. The high-fat, high-sugar diet causes lifelong metabolic disorders. Psychologically, force-feeding creates trauma, anxiety, and a dysfunctional relationship with food. It's a violation of bodily autonomy carried out by loved ones. Ironically, the tradition meant to ensure fertility can cause infertility and dangerous pregnancies. The body protests in silence, bearing the cost of a cultural ideal. The paradox. A tradition meant to secure the future may be undermining it. Despite deep roots, Leblouh is being challenged. Urbanization and global media expose young Mauritanians to new ideas of beauty and health. Activists and women's groups run campaigns, educating families about the risks of force-feeding. Aminetou Mint El Mokhtar, a leading activist, says, "Our identity is not tied to the suffering of our daughters. The movement isn't about attacking culture, but reframing it, valuing health and education over size." Girls are encouraged to play sports, pursue education, and dream beyond traditional roles. Change is slow, requiring trust and respect for tradition. Government health campaigns exist, but real change comes from within communities. The voices of resistance are growing louder, forming a chorus that's hard to ignore. The tradition is being debated, not just by outsiders, but by Mauritanians themselves. The whisper of change is becoming a conversation. One family at a time, the future is being rewritten. The next generation is watching and choosing. Leblouh sits at the crossroads of tradition and modernity. It's not simply barbaric, it's a complex web of history, love, and survival. For generations, it was a strategy for security in a harsh world. Activists challenging it aren't just fighting a practice. They're questioning identity. Change is slow because it feels like an attack on a way of life. The challenge: evolve without losing cultural soul. Protect children while honoring heritage. Some now promote health as the new sign of prosperity. The goal is to redefine beauty from size to vitality. This isn't a battle of good versus evil, but a negotiation within a changing culture. Progress is messy, personal, and rarely straightforward. As outsiders, it's easy to judge Leblouh with shock. But after listening to Mauritanian women, I saw the power of cultural conditioning and the need to belong. Cultural relativism teaches us not to judge by our own standards, but it has limits. When harm is clear, especially to children, we must speak up. The key is how not to condemn, but to support local voices of change. Our role is to amplify those voices, provide resources, and foster empathy. Respect the culture, but advocate for every child's right to health and autonomy. This isn't just about Mauritania, it's about the universal struggle between tradition and progress. It asks us to reflect on our own beauty standards and pressures. It's a difficult, necessary conversation about what it means to be human. My journey into Leblouh left me with more questions than answers. Here, force can be love, beauty brings pain, and tradition is both comfort and suffering. To understand, we must sit with complexity and listen without judgment. The women I met, Mariam, showed me the strength and contradictions of the human spirit. The women I met, Zainabou, showed me the strength and contradictions of the human spirit. The women I met, Fatimetou, showed me the strength and contradictions of the human spirit. This tradition is not static. It's being debated and reshaped by Mauritanians. Its future is uncertain. Perhaps it will fade, perhaps adapt. The outcome belongs to Mauritania as it navigates its past and future. Our role is to watch, listen, and learn. Thank you for joining me on this journey. If you want more stories that challenge perspectives, please subscribe. There are many more stories to tell.